You know what? It's not your fault.
Make your strengths strengthier and let everything else go. I'm your host, Eric Brown, and with me, Mr. Mike Jones.
I can't wait to hear where you're going with that, man.
Well, I think it's in line with what we're about to talk about, my man.
Well,
A little bit of a contradiction, but that's the way I roll.
Clearly, you're going to clear that up for me at some point here.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm
Absolutely.
sorry. Clear that up for us at some point.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. Very good. I'm glad to see you, man. I'm glad you're here.
Me too, man.
I noticed this is about to be some smoking hot shit.
Oh,
right
yeah.
now.
It's about to go down, y'all.
For sure. So this is what we want to talk about. You know, in a keynote that I recently did out in Denver, I sat and listened to a speaker before I was to get up. And basically, what he was saying was that he was administering this personality profile for people. And once he had determined their personality profile, they should accept that as their hard wire. So, y'all got to be with me for a second. As a hard wire, which means that you came into the world predisposed to be that person. That it's not your fault, that you have no control over your behaviors. That's just who you are. Whether or not you're an introvert or an extrovert, whether or not you're outgoing or you're a recluse, you have no control over that. You are hardwired to be somebody who goes for everything that you want, or somebody who feels like a victim. It is absolutely a hardwire based upon this speaker's assessment of what he does through personality assessments.
Yeah, and Mike, that's why I brought it up on the front end, because there's a strength finder personality index out there that says the exact same thing.
Yes.
Once you identify what your strength is, you would just work on making that stronger and stronger, and then you would surround yourself with people who would then be able to fill in your weaknesses, but you would just be that person.
I mean, what nonsense. What absolute nonsense. So I'm just asking y'all to listen with the intent to be influenced, because if you have been giving yourself an excuse for whatever behaviors you have or whatever way of being you have been demonstrating, I am going to encourage you to truly embrace this information that we are about to give you. And I want to hear from you about whether or not this makes sense to you. Because if it does, it's going to open some brand new possibilities up for you to truly begin living your life at a much different level. So first of all, what I am going to say is that the behaviors that you have, the personality that you have embraced is not a hardwire. There are learned behaviors that you have embraced as a result of you practicing those behaviors over and over and over again. Those are behaviors that have become comfortable for you. So if you are a self-confident person, it is because you have repeatedly put yourself in situations that allowed you to build up your self-confidence. If you are a person who has a lack of self-confidence, it is because you have run into some barriers. And when you ran into those barriers, rather than breaking through those barriers, you made the choice to stop at those barriers, which means that you didn't gain self-confidence. Whether you went through the barrier or you stopped at the barrier was not predetermined based upon your hardwire. It was determined in that moment based on your choices.
Yeah, but Mike, a lot of those choices that you would say, or what puts them in whichever kind of quadrant they are in that personality index, that's their comfort zone, right?
It is absolutely a comfort zone. And it is a comfort zone because those are the behaviors that you have practiced over and over and over again, and you have become comfortable with those behaviors. So if we could throw a little science in there, from the point of cognition about, let's say, 6 months old until you were 4 years old, over 45% of the things that you did repetitiously over and over and over again became your comfort zone, became the lens that you would now view the world through, became your map, your MAP that you are navigating all of your relationships through. By the time you were 4 years old, 45% of it was in place. It was based upon you repetitiously practicing those behaviors over and over and over again. Now, let's be clear about this. By the time you were 18 years old, over 99% of that BS was in place. BS in the context of this conversation means belief system. Whereas you are now behaving according to the things that you believe are the truth. They are the perspective that you have of the world. They make up your judgments and your biases and all of the things that go into everything that you're doing every day as it relates to what you have become comfortable with. So you did not come into the world with a hardwire that says you are going to be that person that's sitting there listening to this. You have developed that person by practicing behaviors over and over again. And for some of you, there have been some significant emotional events that have occurred in your life that also help to shape that lens and help to create that map. Those things only had to occur one time for them to have a significant impact upon your life.
Okay, but if that is the comfort zone and it takes 30 days to build a habit, how do people then get out of their comfort zone to be able to actuate a different personality to get to a different outcome?
So first of all, I am not going to agree with you that it takes 30 days to create a new habit.
Oh, no.
That's another whole conversation altogether.
Oh, okay.
But let me answer the question that you asked me. So if I am a person who is bold, and when the time comes for me to be patient, I'm being bold, I am going to do more damage in that situation than I am going to do good. So let me say it like this, and I'm just asking you again to listen with the intent to be influenced. When you overuse your strengths, and we're going to call the things that you are the most comfortable with as your strengths. Okay. Those are the things that when you overuse those things, those strengths become weaknesses. An example being, once again, if I am an impatient person and I've always got my foot on the gas going 100 miles an hour, there are going to come times that is not going to be a strength. It is going to be a weakness. There are those times that I can choose to be patient. Impatience is not a hardwire that I came into the world with. I'm telling y'all what I know because I've had to practice this. Impatience is not a hardwire, it is a practiced behavior. When I have made the choice to be patient, then I can deliver patience in that moment. Truly understanding what the people around me need and want from me, I can make the choice to be patient. And I have done so in many, many situations.
Got it. So it's not necessarily a hardwire for sure, and it's a choice, is what it sounds like to me.
Absolutely. I'm going to submit, as you know, you have heard us say many times here on these Pod Blasts, we believe that one of the greatest gifts that every last one of us has is the gift of choice. You can choose to believe anything that you want. So if you choose to believe that your being, your personality is a hardwire, then you are giving yourself an excuse for bad behavior. You are now accepting on your own level that there is nothing else available to you other than the things that you have become comfortable with and the lens that you are viewing the world through.
So you heard it here first, and we'll get Mr. Jones' take on how long it takes to build a habit on the next Pod Blast.
Now, we can talk about it right now if we just got 1 second left here.
Yeah,
so
okay.
I am going to submit that in the 30 years that I've been doing what I'm doing, it depends upon the frequency in which you are practicing the new behavior. The more and more you practice the new behavior, the more familiar or habitual it's going to become at a shorter period of time than 30 or 21 days. So again, if I am now practicing that behavior multiple times a day, it is not going to take me 30 days or 21 days to develop a brand new habit based upon the level of frequency that I am deliberately, which is going to be important, I am deliberately practicing that behavior. So as you now practice these new behaviors, understand that the ones that you already possess are not a hardwire. They are absolutely a choice. And you can choose to be patient. You can choose to be personable. You can choose to be bold. You can choose to be self-confident. You can choose to be enthusiastic. You can choose to be friendly. You can choose to absolutely weigh the pros and the cons and be more analytical. All of those things are a choice, and they're available to you 86,400 seconds of every day.
Okay, so Mike, if I'm making the choice to be bold and I'm making the choice deliberately to do that on purpose 5 times a day or 10 times a day, I'm going to become bold quicker than 30 days?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I mean by practicing it more frequently and transitioning that behavior a lot quicker than the stated 21 days or 30 days. And I'm going to tell y'all this. If you are truly not living your life out on the edge, then you're probably living according to your hardwire, and you are taking up far too much room, because those behaviors are going to do more damage than good.
Here we go now.